the new medical insurance policy for foreign workers. What does it mean? Why was it introduced? And how does it affect businesses and workers here in Brunei? So we'll unpack all of that with the people who knows it best. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Biz Brunei Takeaways, the podcast where we make business policies and programs easier to understand one conversation at a time. So today we're going to be diving into a topic that's been on every employer's mind, the new medical insurance policy for foreign workers. What does it mean? Why was it introduced? And how does it affect businesses and workers here in Brunei? So we'll unpack all of that with the people who knows it best. So joining me today are our distinguished guests, Tuan Haji Adi Ihram bin Datuk Paduka Haji Mahmud, Director of Policy and Planning at the Ministry of Health, Tuan Haji Shariful Bahri bin Haji Sawas, Deputy Commissioner of Labour Corporate, and Tuan Haji Hairini bin Haji Abdul Rahman, Deputy Director of Immigration and National Registration Department, and lastly, Mr. Klaus Tomala, Vice Chairman, General Secretary of the Brunei Insurance and Takaful Association, BITA. So, as we all know, according to the Department of Labour's official release, the revised medical insurance policy will be implemented in two phases, if I'm not mistaken, yeah? So, phase one has actually commenced this year in July, covering permanent residents and selected immigration pass holders. And phase two, inshallah, will start on the 1st of January next year. So this will be extended to the private sector, employment passes, dependent passes, and student passes. So the goal, if I'm not mistaken, and we understand it, is to ensure that all of the foreign nationals working or residing in Brunei have sufficient medical coverage with a minimum coverage of amounting of up to $100,000. So before we dive in deeper into the conversation, let's start with the big picture overview for our listeners and viewers today. So if I may start, Tuan Haji Shariful Bahri, thank you for joining. If you can share with us or walk through with us in terms of the new medical insurance policy, what is it all about and what actually prompted the introduction?
Okay, the new policy medical insurance is not something new, but there is a major amendment to the medical insurance. For the foreign workers, according to the Employment Act, is amended. Come into force is come into force is 3rd July 2024. That all American workers must be insured by the employer. It's the employer obligation to insure the foreign workers hired by them with a threshold of minimum of 400,000 each worker. So that is the obligation of the employer. Compared to the current previous legislation, the same act actually required only 10,000. So now is we increase the threshold to minimum is 100,000. This is part of the obligation of the employer under the Act. So under the legal obligation, they have to buy and provide and maintain the medical insurance for the each worker. And this is also the part of the protection for the foreign workers in Brunei. So basically, they are protected by laws that their right is to have medical insurance, which is covered with the minimum standard aligned or required by the law. As you mentioned just now, it's true. There's two phases. One is already implemented in 1st July. Four category of people. One is the domestic workers. Second is the visit pass, and the third one is the personal visit and visit visa, and the fourth one is the PR, permanent resident, which is contribute to the economic and development as well as the professional. The second phase is the three category. One is the employment pass, workers in the private sector. dependent pass, and the last one is the student pass.
Yeah. So basically, this is not nothing new, Latona. This is something that we have already in law in place. It's just we're updating saja.
Some of the category is new, but for the foreign workers is working in Brunei, we just upgrading the medical insurance. For example, the pass which is not involved in the previous legislation is pass which is under immigration beside the employment pass. PR or saying the student pass, dependent pass, that is something new. Yeah.
Okay, so it's very important for our businesses to understand why the government is implementing this. This is actually to protect our foreign workers, and it is our obligation as an employer to actually protect our foreign workers and basically not just foreign workers lah, and our workers in general. So thank you, Tuan, for that clarification. Now, if I can invite Tuan Haji Adi Ihram from the Ministry of Health. Could you share with us, in terms of the MOH punya perspective, why was it actually necessary for us to revise the policy now? And what were some of the key healthcare trends that actually influenced this policy change?
Okay, so thank you very much. So from the Ministry of Health's perspective, it was obviously necessary for us to review the previous existing insurance coverage, because we need to ensure that our health financing system is one, sustainable, two, equitable, and also responsive of the current landscape. So since post-COVID, we've noticed that there has been substantial increase in the price of medical supplies and so on. So inflation has hit double digits basically, not just in Brunei but also in the region. So additionally, according to feedback that we receive from hospitals and our health centers, the number of foreign workers coming in to get healthcare, perubatan dan sudah anda mencukupi, not enough. The 10,000 coverage limit was obviously not enough to cover. So I think from our perspective, this is one of the reasons why the limit was increased from 10,000 to 100,000 in order to assure that it aligns with current medical needs. So I think this is very important. It protects not only the employer but also the employee, to ensure that every employee has access to healthcare without any fear of the financial burden, and also this applies also to the employer.
Yeah, thank you, Tan. So from the Immigration Department's perspective, Tuan Haji Hairani, how is your department involved in this rollout, and particularly in terms of the work pass and visa processes? If you can share a little bit on that one.
All right. In terms of Department of Immigration and National Registration, now our involvement with the medical insurance is basically on the immigration passes. For example, the visa that they applied in our department. So, for example, let's say you are applying for professional and business visit visa. So, we are, just for clarification, Brunei Darussalam have visa arrangement with other countries around the world. So for example, like for let's say Malaysia, we have 30 days exemption from applying visa to entering to Brunei Darussalam. So let's say a person is entering Brunei for more than 30 days, he or she, or for professional or business or social. So let's say for social is 30 days, but for professional business is required a visa to entering Brunei. So we required the medical insurance up to, let's say, for example, if it's less than 90 days, it's just for $10,000 coverage. But however, it's for more than 90 days, a visa is required. So they need to obtain 100,000 coverage, medical insurance. So that's for visa as well. So this one will be included as for domestic, yes, as my colleague mentioned just now. Domestic has been started in the 1st July 2025, that will be 100,000 medical coverage. And for the second phase implementation, as we mentioned, for the work passes. Now, work passes definitely will be 100,000 medical coverage for the 2 years of work pass validity. And for student pass, it's only 5,000 for the foreign national as well. Foreign national. And as we mentioned in our previous engagement with BEDB as well, for PR, we do encourage for permanent resident. With permanent resident, we have a lot of categories. We are encouraged to have medical insurance as well during their duration in Brunei Darussalam. Okay.
So basically, coming January the 1st, if you are a permanent resident, you definitely have, especially for student passes, you should definitely apply earlier. Like Tito na.
Yes.
You don't want to wait until
Yes.
In December to start applying that.
Yeah, they can apply early actually.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, there are some questions that has been asked as well, if I can add on.
Sure.
So if sekiranya that individual is coming here on transit, would that apply as well?
On transit, it's only for 72 hours, so usually it's not applicable. It's not applicable as long as on transit for a few, not more than 72 hours. So basically, not more than 3 days for transit. So they don't require medical insurance, but they can opt to if they want to.
Yeah, I mean, for the
Yeah.
sake of,
Yeah.
it's just in case. Kita
Just in
pun
case.
we don't know
Because
kan.
for travel insurance,
Yeah.
right? For transit,
Yeah,
it's
so-
up to them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, usually for me, if I travel, it's best to get your stuff
Yes.
insured. You don't know what will happen if
Yeah.
you're in a foreign country. So it's best that, we all get insurance.
Yeah.
But so lastly, Mr. Klaus, from BITA's side, how have insurers and Takaful providers been preparing for this new policy? Were you as surprised as the rest of us, or have you known about this change?
We were not surprised. Let's put it like this. So I think the first discussions I remember was 2 years ago with the Ministry of Health, Immigration and Labor Department. So there were already thoughts about this and a reason about this. And when it came, of course, closer to the launching dates, I must admit, for us as an insurance industry, it was quite challenging. On one hand, to meet the requirements. On the other hand, to have a reasonable price, and and of course provide a coverage which is as extensive as possible. And it took a while. So different insurers were faster or slower, or waiting what others are doing. But at the end of the day, on the perspective of the industry, I think we have now in the country a big range of different insurance products and also different prices. So you can choose the full package with everything included for a reasonable price, or maybe a more economic version meeting the requirements, but of course for a lower price. So I think at the end, I think it's working quite smoothly. And maybe one more thing to add, especially for foreign workers, which will be due or which will be launched 1st of January. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, every insurance company who offers, they launch it already. So not waiting until the deadline when it officially starts. So it's already provided right now.
Yeah, so in the market, they can actually...
Can already buy now to meet already the requirements starting 1st of January.
Looking ahead, how do you all see, Tuan, this policy helping to strengthen our business environment, especially from the workforce as well? Do you have any comments or thoughts on that?
Okay, from the labor perspective, for us is when they have comprehensive medical insurance coverage, that is more toward to the right of the workers. So the more, the healthy they are, the more productive they are. So that is could be part we think that can enhance the productivity. Of course, indirectly there will be business. Business development for the employer in the company. Yeah. One aspect from the employer, of course, one is to reduce the financial burden of the medical field. They have to, otherwise they have to come out from their own pocket of money to pay the medical insurance bill. So that is one of the protection from the employer. Yeah.
Do you have any scary stories you can share with our listeners so that they can actually, macam imagine, from the labor punya side, macam businesses where they have encountered they couldn't pay the medical bills from MOHs. I don't know if that could be. So it's an example.
Yeah.
So that they understand.
Okay, thank you. We have a lot of experience. The employer is failed to medical bills, so this could be confirmed by our colleague from the Ministry of Health. There's several employer failed to medical bills. So, of course, from the Labor Department, we have to do the legal action. And one of the action could be the license will be frozen, dibukukan or frozen. We stop them from hiring the another foreign workers. Otherwise, will be burden to the to the employer as well, because they already violation of the labor laws, fail to pay medical bill. Yeah.
Kalau sekiranya our local employees, do they have to be insured as well, or is that something yang encouraged?
At the moment, for local employee, under legal version, there is no obligation for the employer. But however, we do encourage if the employer to give medical insurance for the local employee. This is part of the protection for workers. So we have to we encourage them to impose is same as to the other workers as well. Yeah.
Does anyone want to add on?
Yeah, sure. Let me add. In terms of foreign workers, right? So let's say employees are local and hiring a foreign worker, especially from other countries as well. So they will be holding a green IC. So they are subject to medical insurance coverage as well. Now, say for example, say for example, the foreign worker are bringing their dependent, like their spouse or their children. These also needs to be covered to medical insurance coverage as well, provided that the dependent is not working. So it has to be borne by the foreign worker itself, not the employer, right? Not the employer, unless the spouse is working is not PR, and then it should also must be covered by the employers as well. So just for information lah, as well.
So basically, the employer punya responsibility is to cover the employee, but the spouses satu.
The spouse satu, yes, ia mesti covered by dia punya siapa yang menjamin lah. Siapa yang menjamin itu lah.
Yep. So if the spouses just do if they're not working, so artinya dorang sendirilah, they're encouraged to buy.
The foreign worker to itself menjamin the sponsorship for the spouse or the dependent as well.
Okay. Yeah. And also in terms of the timeline, Tuan, kalau sekiranya they want to apply for a work pass, do they need to get the insurance first? Is that something yang they need to show proof of insurance first, or can they get the work pass? So how does it work?
Provided they met the requirement from the Labor Department, they have their own punya foreign worker license as well. And if they wish to process their own punya work passes, so they need to have the approval first from the labor, and then they can make the endorsement, including their medical insurance certificate as well, for us to process their work passes up to 2 years.
Just want to add, new workers under the foreign workers license, we encourage them to buy before the arrival. So this in terms of protection of the employee as well, because some of the cases there's employee being or something happened, accident or thing, so that is If they buy the insurance, they will be covered uh, by the insurance. If they is not if not provide the insurance after the arrival, they only give 2 weeks by the immigration.
We're going to give 2 weeks. Let's say, for example, a foreign worker, they haven't bought any insurance at all once they arrive in Brunei Darussalam. So we're going to give up to 2 weeks their visit
Kira visit pass.
visit pass dorang, and then they come in to make renewal or their work pass. As long as they provide the medical certificate, so insurance certificate lah, then we can make the endorsement. This also include for student passes as well. Yeah, student passes as well.
So artinya they have to turunai pre-apply, right?
Yeah,
Until
that's
they get
why
the
it's better
insurance.
they have their insurance first. Their insurance before they entering Brunei Darussalam, because I understand that for their insurance to be activated, it's only upon the arrival in Brunei Darussalam. That is the first day of their medical insurance coverage, and up to the whole duration they're in Brunei Darussalam. Yeah.
And will the government accept insurance bought overseas, or is that something you must buy it in Brunei for the foreign workers?
Yeah. So we will accept any overseas insurance as long as it's stated in the insurance that there is worldwide coverage, and exclusively it mentions Brunei Darussalam. So we will accept it. But at the same time, like, take this opportunity to encourage everyone to buy local insurance, because administratively, obviously, it's easier to deal with the local insurance companies here. So I would encourage everyone to just buy local. It's easier. Yeah, less hassle. Yeah.
Yes.
May I add? Thank you
Yeah, of course.
for this. Also, when you compare the prices, Brunei health insurance and overseas, there's a big price difference, right? So from this point of view, it's definitely worthwhile to buy it here. So some of the customers or employers, they use those so-called manpower agencies who are covering also the insurance part. Yeah. So, but it's also a good initiative, for example, what the government did in terms of prolonging, right, to give, because not everyone is maybe familiar with Brunei when they come here, how to, so, and therefore it's a good thing also to give the opportunity to buy then the insurance in the country itself. So it helps quite a lot.
And plus, it's easy as well to buy, right? I
Exactly.
mean, you can just install any of
Exactly.
providers'
Exactly.
application, and then you can just buy it from the app, right?
Yeah.
So, touching on the immigration side, Tonaji,
Yeah.
apart from the new medical insurance, is there any type of mandatory insurance that employers should know about? Like, for example, the workman's compensation?
I think Labour can cover that.
Whichever.
Labour can cover.
Tonaji.
Just want to explain the medical insurance for the foreign workers. Actually, there are two types. One is medical insurance, as we talked earlier. The second one is the insurance under workman comp. We call it the personal injury insurance. So these two mandatory insurance for the foreign workers, that is the employer obligation to make himself insured with these two insurance. That means if you have a foreign workers, you have to buy these two insurance. Of course, the under workman comp, there's not all the workers, but depend on the eligibility. One is the manual workers, regardless of the salary, they have to cover. Manual workers mean like construction workers or say. And another one is the non-manual workers, which the eligibility of salary is 700 below. So this insurance, the personal injury insurance, or we call it under the workman comp, is cover foreign and local. Only this workman comp insurance. So it cover foreign and local. So the purpose of the insurance is to compensate the employee if anything happen, accident in the course of the employment. So it's a duty of the employer to make a report to the labor department about the accident and make a claim for the insurance for the workers.
So meaning, it doesn't matter which line of work lah. I mean, it's a mandatory insurance that they have to buy,
Yeah.
or is it only like from the construction side? It's mandatory for all.
Mandatory for all. Yeah.
Right. And then the coverage is also 100K as well.
The coverage is depend on the accident, type of accident. For example, is involving a death, then there will be a maximum of 28,000 of that. Then total incapacity is about 36,000. Yeah. So depend on the accident or injuries. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Doc. Yes.
Maybe I can add, if you allow me. So because you have two parts, in fact, you have the workman compensation part, and you have the medical insurance part, right? So therefore, you must have the workman compensation part is the minimum requirement, right? Plus the health insurance, 100,000. So you can, for example, theoretically also split. You say, let's say you use a life insurer for the medical part, and try to get the workman compensation part from a general insurer, right? So therefore there are various possibilities in the insurance market to get protection.
And following on that, Mr. Klaus, could you advise our viewers today in terms of choosing insurance providers? What sort of options or key factors should they actually look out for? Because as we know, there's a lot of options available in the market, but perhaps a few key factors that they should consider before buying one.
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways to see it, right? So when you see it from the employer's point of view, of course, they look also on an employer's point of view, let's say with a very high number of foreign workers. Yeah, let's say hundreds, thousands of foreign workers. I think you look on one hand on the budget side, right? Because you have to buy for everyone an insurance policy. So on the other hand, you have to look on the coverage point, right? Which cover do you want to provide for your workers? Yeah, do you want to say, okay, I want that they are all insured, or I want that they're just basically insured? So therefore, it's difficult to give a recommendation, right? So another question is, do you want to insure pre-existing conditions or critical illnesses, right? Of course, if you want to include everything, of course it will cost accordingly, right? And then let's say if you have thousands of workers, your costs can explode, right? But what we in the recent months notice, for example, when we talk about domestic helpers, so the employer, they usually tend to have as broad coverage as possible. Yeah. So whereas, let's say, bigger companies with a higher number of employees, so we notice more, they go more into the direction of that it's economical justified, yeah, and that they meet the requirements. So the good thing is that the insurance industry offers for everyone everything, right? So you need just to identify. I don't want now to give any names. Would be not fair. So therefore, I speak on behalf of the industry. So, but there is a wide range of products and different tariffs available, so that you can meet your own requirements.
Yeah. So definitely they should shop around first, right?
Exactly,
Before committing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And in terms of the big companies, as you mentioned, could they actually buy in bulk as a group?
Yeah, usually do this, and then usually the insurance companies give then also discounts, additional group discounts. So so because of course before the law came into force, a lot of concerns were in the market, right? So let's say just in old times you had 10,000 per person as a requirement. Now you have 100,000. So of course people calculate, I need to pay 10 times more. And imagine you have you have 100 workers or 1,000 workers, and you have to pay 10 times more, right? So therefore, I think the industry managed it pretty well to bring it to a level where it's affordable. And another good point, just to add here, is I think we also create more awareness, right? So about insurance, about caring about yourself, caring about others, you know. So in taking not for granted, I go to the doctor and just get everything paid. So I think it's a good development as well.
Yeah. And they should definitely read the terms and conditions as
Yes,
well.
I definitely recommend this. Yeah, because sometimes it's nicely said, you know, we insure critical illness, we insure this and that. Yeah, but of course there are also prerequisites and also requirements which you have to fulfill.
Yeah, we do have these questions every time we have engagement with the public and the sectors as well. They keep on asking us about the insurance premium, how much they have to pay, and so on. So basically, we advise them to read the fine prints and make sure they understand what they are signing for the insurance coverage. What is covered is what's not being covered. So if you're not sure, you can always ask the insurance companies, is this being covered? How much I'm going to pay, and so on. Those sort of things they need to understand when they sign up. Because 100,000 means it's the minimum actually. It's the minimum 100,000. It's not like, for example, if you already used up another 50K, 100,000 is for the 2 years for the work passes. So let's say they have used up 70K for their medical insurance coverage at the hospital, for example. So they need to top up the balance of that 70K to maintain all 100,000 minimum for the whole duration of their work pass and the duration for their in Brunei Darussalam.
Okay, so they definitely have to top up. Kalau sekiranya kan habis
they have
lah.
utilized, for example, 70,000 of 100,000. So they need to top up through the insurance companies to maintain 100,000 for the whole duration for them in Brunei Darussalam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tuan. Thank you, Mr. Klaus. So if I can go to Tuan Ajadi,
Yes.
Ihram, could you share from the medical insurance and from MOH perspective, what does the actual medical insurance cover? Does it cover, for example, inpatient, outpatient, ataupun repatriation costs?
Yeah, so basically the type of insurance that is available out there is quite comprehensive. Ever since this new policy was announced, so we see coverage on hospital admissions, emergency care, and all that. Quite a wide coverage, as my colleague mentioned. Quite happy to see that a lot of these illnesses are being covered by the insurance industry. So this will help to reduce financial burden of the workers and also to give again to the employer to help them mitigate against sudden financial expenses related to medical bills. And I'd like to add to say that also that over the past few years, the number of unpaid medical bills has significantly risen for foreign workers. As I said earlier, 10,000 is not enough. Yeah, because the trend has been, a higher incidence of occupational injuries and so on and so forth. So this has caused a very heavy burden on both the employer-employee. So we're quite happy to see that the insurance industry has been able to keep up with the current landscape.
So kalau sekiranya a worker ataupun the employer faces financial difficulty, let's say they're not able to pay for whatever reason, they're not able to pay the medical costs even though they've already been insured. So how can the employers help guide their staff to access the support? If there is a support given from the government, like for example through the medical social worker, which I believe Yang Berhormat Datu has mentioned during the press conference last time as well.
So in these types of situation, the employer should let the employee know that they can always approach the finance section of our hospitals or our healthcare centers to discuss their situation and their difficulties. And following the assessment made by our finance section, if they are eligible for assistance, they will refer them to the appropriate welfare assistance or communities for assistance, and also to refer them to all the charitable organizations in Brunei and so on. So this is the advice that employers can give to their employees to ensure that they are given treatment as soon as possible to get the assistance. So and this is where also, as you mentioned, medical social worker will try to coordinate and help that particular person for assistance.
And by right, I mean, Tuan, it should be the employer's responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Not the employee, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the employer should definitely, if they're not able to pay, they can come to some sort of arrangement as well.
Yeah.
But let's say they don't want to be responsible. What will the labor department
Yeah.
do?
Actually, under the laws, the obligation is borne by the employer. So anything medical bill must be borne by the employer according to the laws. This include the employer cannot deduct salary in order to buy the insurance salary from the workers. So anything which is outstanding medical bill, we have previous cases that they said that the employer is unable to pay the medical bill, but when we refer to an legal action, they still are responsible to pay because under the passport, the sponsorship is still under the employer. So you have to make sure that's why from the colleague from the ministry said that we already increased this coverage in order to avoid this unpaid the medical bill. So the 100K is normally the minimum, but the employer can increase the coverage if they want to. So that's under the laws. For us, is the employer still responsible to pay the medical bill.
And kalau sekiranya they find out that, for example, from the complaint hotline that they complain, my employer is deducting my salary, what will the labor department do?
The employee can direct complaint to us, either physically or they can complain online. And then for us, that is if the employer is failed to pay the medical bills, it's already violation of our Employment Act. So they will be either penalized to be compounded for each offense, been prosecuted in the court. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ted. So you should definitely be responsible for all of your employees. Yeah, so Mr. Klaus, if I may, one of the most common questions that was raised during our engagement series recently was about the pre-existing conditions, which I'm sure, from your side also, there's always these questions, are pre-existing conditions covered in the medical insurance? And what if it exceeds 100,000 limit? So how are these handled in the new policy?
As I said before, some of the insurance provider in the industry, they offer this product. They do offer pre-existing conditions, of course to a reasonable insurance premium. So not everyone does it, but a few principals are offering it. And the second part of your question, if the limit is exhausted, of course, you have to chip in with your own money, right? So let's say the 100,000 are reached and the treatment is more expensive than 100,000, then of course the difference to be borne by the employer. So this is so therefore I agree with my colleagues here. So this is just a minimum limit, right? And if you if you need more treatment, and it can be very costly, especially when you focus on hospitalization or surgeries. This costs a huge amount of money. When you have critical illnesses, or if you have pre-existing conditions, this can cost in the hundreds of thousands. So then this 100,000 might be a drop. So therefore, it's worth to think also ahead of it. And maybe I can add, because in older times, when you had a more expensive medical bill, especially for foreign workers, it was quite difficult to pay first, because it was always on reimbursement base, right? So first, you as an employer, you have first to pay to the hospital, and then you claim the money back, right? So now there are a few insurance companies who offering a direct billing between the hospitals in Brunei and the insurance company, so that the employer or the insured do not have to bother with this, right? So it will be charged directly between the hospital and the insurance companies. So yeah.
And regarding the 100,000 minimum coverage, right? Is that a total pool that can be claimed by for any medical conditions, or are there specific limits for different types of illnesses? Like for, let's say, they have an injury, will that be covered within the limit? 100,000 limit. So basically, how is it?
It also here depends on the coverage. Yeah, if it's work related, so also in the workman compensation part, you have, for example, up to 10,000, which is any medical treatment is covered there. So and then on top, you have the limit of 100,000. Yeah, where but mainly based on the hospitalization and the surgery part, right? So but also here depends. There are insurance companies, they offer a pretty broad spectrum, where you get inpatient coverage and outpatient coverage, right? So you have to check with the individual insurance Takaful companies what coverage is provided. But the spectrum is very much broad, and then you can, in fact, you can get everything.
Yeah, maybe just to add with regards to that. So say, for example, if I'm an employer, I have 10 foreign workers. So it's good that I have medical insurance, because at least I know what are their health conditions. At least their welfare and healthcare are being taken care of. So I know my business will run smoothly, but at least I know, okay, they don't have pre-existing condition. Okay, that's fine. If they have, okay, what do I need to do? Who I can go into? That's how we see it as a whole, with this medical insurance as well. That's how we see it.
Yeah, and this, maybe may I add to this? Yeah, this is also what I said at the beginning, right? Therefore, let's say when we talk about domestic helpers, right, the employer is, because maybe there's also more personal relationship is a single person or two, right? So therefore, of course, the interest is to get as broad coverage as possible. Whereas if you have really a huge number or big number of workers, of course, you try to accommodate also the budget-wise. Yeah. So.
Like just want to add in terms of the medical coverage under the laws, so the employer may know what is the obligation under the law. One is the coverage is any treatment or surgical, but exclude the outpatient. But they depend on the employer. If they want to include the outpatient, is up to them. So we are no objection. Even we encourage to have this coverage, because you have to check with the insurance provider. They have a few packages that may need your requirement.
So basically, the questions that have been asked during the engagement series, our recent engagement series, is that let's say an employee at a company, they finish their contract early. Could they actually transfer this insurance to another of their employee, or is that refunded by the insurance provider in any way?
Yeah, also here I cannot talk now for every company. Yeah, so some company probably refund the premium for this particular worker, and then if a new worker comes, this will be added. So administratively seems to be the easiest way instead of replacing and then because normally the insurance policies, they have one expiring date, and if you have then different type of workers, you may get confused with all the expiring dates. So as I said, I cannot talk now for the whole industry. There's no let's say unified way, but in my experience, it will be just if one gets expired and there's no replacement, it will be refunded, right? So or the new one will be just added.
Okay, thank you. Tuan Haji, if you can share with us, if sekiranya an employer doesn't comply, what are the actions that will be taken against them?
Okay. Under the law, the employer may be compounded up to maximum 1,000 for fail to provide the insurance. These are two type of offences. One is fail to provide the insurance. The second one is the deduction of the salary to buy the insurance. Deduction the salary of the workers to buy the insurance. So the first offences is the employer can be compounded maximum to 1,000 for each offence. Yeah. And then liable for prosecution up to 3,000 or imprisonment for 1 year or both. So this is fail to provide the insurance to the workers. The second one is deduction is if you deduct the salary from the workers, you may also be liable under the law. One is you be compounded for each offence. For the prosecution, you can be prosecuted to the fine is maximum is 2,000 or imprisonment of the 6 months or both.
So it's very serious offence, like Tuan. So basically, the message is don't the message is please get insurance for all your employees.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tuan. So I think before we wrap up, I would like to invite for each of our guests this evening, if you would like to have, your last words, perhaps an advice or caution, so that our viewers can take note of it from Tuan from the Labour Department.
Yeah, from Labour Department is our message to the employer and as well as the employee. If you have any queries or further want to have further information, you can reach out to the Labour Department. As we mentioned, we have you can contact us. The information is in our website or in the Instagram, so you can contact us. So my last message to the workers is you also play a key vital role in this introducing the medical insurance, because you have to know your rights. So anything violation of your right, you can complain to Labour Department. So anything deduction salary out of the medical insurance, so you can approach Labour Department, lodge a complaint. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tuan. Tuan Haji?
Okay, from Department of Immigration and National Registration, as we mentioned just now, since on the 1st of January 2026, there will be implementation of the second phase of the medical insurance coverage as well. So our advice is for you to get more information, not from only immigration, from other agencies as well, for example, Labour and Ministry of Health, and from Insurance BETA as well. You get the information, do ask them what are their policies and premium, and to make sure that whatever they are required for your company or for employers, if you're not sure, do ask. Yeah.
Thank you, Tuan.
Okay, so from the Ministry of Health, just like to say that this new policy of increasing the limit, is also about ensuring that our health financing system is sustainable. So that's important, because from our experience, there's been a lot of cases where people have not been able to pay their medical bills, and the bills just keep piling up. So it's a question of sustainability, and comes to my point where it's important for everyone to ensure that their workers are covered. We know that even some established companies even experiencing difficulties to pay some of these bills. So it's very, very important to get your people covered, to ensure that, peace of mind for everyone, and also most importantly to ensure that our health system is sustainable for future generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuan. Mr. Klaus?
On behalf of the insurance and Takaful industry, I can assure that all range of products available, so every insurance company and Takaful company have products available meeting the requirements, and of course I advise to check thoroughly and also read the details about that, not to have any misunderstanding. So but you can get from the broadest coverage up to the minimum coverage for a different price range. So for everyone, everything is available, and so this is my last
Thank you,
word.
Mr. Klaus. Thank you, Tuan Aji and Mr. Klaus, for joining us today for this very important podcast, because there's a lot of inquiries and questions that has been plaguing the employers' minds, especially our businesses. So hopefully this session will actually enlighten them and share, some of the insights as to why this policy was formed, and the actual, importance of having medical insurance, not just for themselves as an employer, but also especially to take care of their employees as well. The dialogue that we are having today is very important for us to navigate the recent policy changes in terms of the new medical insurance policy. And I would like to thank our venue supporter, Salted Cafe, for giving us a chance to do our podcast here for this very important topic. So for those tuning in, if you would like to know more or revisit today's discussion, you can visit our website, www.bizbrunei.com, or follow us on social media, Biz Brunei, and as well as BDB social media for more updates and resources. And I'm Atira Yusuf, and this has been Biz Brunei Takeaways, helping you navigate the world of business in Brunei, one conversation at a time. Thank you.